play.
What's up, Hearthstone fans? It's TJ Sanders. Welcome to another episode of Well Played. If you've watched competitive Hearthstone in the past, chances are you've heard the casters say something like this.
He has nothing.
Ooh, this is weird.
The game turns around this turn.
But why didn't we play? I guess he wants to. Okay, so I understand what it's Casey's doing.
Conceal information.
Exactly.
At first glance, what you do and don't know in a game of Hearthstone appears to be pretty straightforward. Both players can see everything that happens on the board, and when you see your opponent's class, you can get a good idea of what cards they might have in deck. Information is everything in the tavern. The most valuable information? What's in your opponent's hand. And yet, players of all levels can be prone to certain bad habits that unnecessarily give away that precious info.
I will hunt you. I will hunt you down.
Bad habit number 1, hovering. Whenever you mouse over a card in hand, your opponent can see this as a red outline around the card. Say it's turn 3, you have no minions on board, and your hunter opponent keeps hovering over 2 cards before they settle on playing Animal Companion.
To my side.
Their only other good on-curve play is Master's Call. Based on the hovering, you can get a good idea of where the Master's Call would be in hand. Bad habit number 2, pointing. Whenever you target minions on board with effects from hand, your opponent will see a red arrow indicating your intended target, even if you don't end up casting the card. For example, you see the red arrow as your rogue opponent uses a card from the far left to target their own evil miscreant before they end turn. They just gave you 2 bits of information. 1, they have a card in hand that targets minions, and 2, it's likely to be Shadow Step because you're playing against rogue. Generally, bad habits like these can be avoided by planning out your entire turn in advance. Try not to hover over or point with any cards until you know the entire sequence of actions for that turn. Bad habit number 3, playing the wrong copy of a card. Though this is usually a habit born of forgetfulness, it's something that top players should try to optimize. The meta these days is rife with cards that generate other cards. Every once in a while, especially when you can discover, you end up with additional copies of cards you already run in your deck. Cards like these tend to be more valuable because your opponent can rarely account for them. When I play Cyclone Mage or Tempo Rogue, I often find myself asking, wait, which one of these started in my deck again? Unlike the history bar, where generated cards played are labeled with created by, nothing in your hand has such a label. If you're forgetful like me, here's a pro tip. Use golden cards. A golden Shimmerfly would also produce a golden Deadly Shot, and when you run into a memory block, all you need to remember is, save the shiny one. Bad habits can be hard to break, but if you consciously remind yourself of these simple solutions, you'll be reading hands like a grandmaster in no time.